welcome back to another video. I hope you've been keeping so very well. This week I wanted to bring you along and show you what I eat for lunch during the work week whilst I'm working from home. I work from home 90% of the time, and honestly one of the biggest struggles that I have with food is finding that motivation when I'm deep in the work zone to remove myself and make myself a nourishing lunch. But it's something that I have been working on quite a lot, and the recipes that I want to share with you in today's video are ones that I personally find super enjoyable to cook, and as well as that, they taste really good and are on the relatively quick and easy side of things. For lunch today, I'm going to make this delicious teriyaki tofu stir fry. This honestly has been on rotation for me for months now, but I have perfected this recipe recently and I really hope that you enjoy it. The tofu is so crispy and saucy and delicious, and this is something that you can serve with rice or with noodles, both of which are relatively quick and easy to cook, and this stir fry also works really well for meal prep. Anyway, enough of me talking, let's get into making lunch and making this delicious teriyaki tofu stir fry. So of course for these teriyaki tofu noodles, I start with half a block of tofu that I cut into cubes. I want them to be as small as possible personally because I love getting all the extra sauce and getting them really nice and crispy. And then I put them into a container with some corn flour, and then I also add in some vegan chicken stock powder. This stuff is like so good. And I also add in some garlic powder, and then I shake this all up to get the tofu really nice and well evenly coated. I then transfer this into a frying pan with some oil and leave it to fry up whilst I cut up the veggies that I'm going to put in. So I like to have broccoli, and then I also really like having green beans. You can pretty much add in whichever veggies that you would like to. And then with the crispy tofu, I add in some soy sauce as well as the teriyaki sauce that is just store-bought, and I continue frying this up as the tofu soaks up these sauces and it gets really nice and sticky. Then I add in the broccoli as well as the green beans and continue frying it all up whilst I cook up some noodles. I usually use either ramen noodles or udon noodles when I am doing this noodle dish. I find them both to be super delish, and I add the noodles in and mix it all together before transferring into a bowl, of course. And then I also like having toppings, sometimes sesame seeds or fried onions or spring onions, and yeah, this is such a delicious lunch. On Tuesday I decided to make one of my favorite lunches at the moment. It is super fresh and packed full of veg, which we love. I start by cutting up some zucchini, and then I also cut up some leek as well, getting it all separated, and then I also make sure to wash the leek as well because I find it to be one of the dirtiest veggies. Then I also crush some garlic and slice it up, and then I'm going to fry all of this up. So with some olive oil into a frying pan, I add in the zucchini as well as the garlic and then the leek that I have washed, and I'm frying this up pretty much until the leek gets nice and golden. Then into a food processor, I put some spinach as well as some fresh basil. Then I also add in some vegan Greek yogurt, which makes this really nice and creamy, as well as the fried up zucchini and leek and garlic, which is going to add so much delicious flavor. I then add in some nutritional yeast as well as some salt and some pepper. I also then add in some lemon juice for some zest and put the lid on, and then I am going to blend this all together. I'm going to blend this until it's nice and smooth and add a little water if I need to thin it out at all. Then into a saucepan I put the butter beans, which I am frying up, and then adding in the green sauce to get this nice and well coated and all creamy and delicious. I also cut up a couple of pieces of bread and put them in the toaster, which I am going to serve with these green butter beans. So I transfer the butter beans into a dish, then I'm also going to top it with some extra vegan Greek yogurt for some extra creaminess and texture. I also then top with some salt and lots of cracked pepper as well as some fresh basil, and then of course serve this with a couple of pieces of this delicious buttered bread. This is a super nourishing and delicious lunch, definitely one I recommend trying, especially if you're a fan of butter beans and basil. It is really delish, and I hope that you love it as much as I've been loving it recently. So today I've got a little bit more time on my my hands, and I've decided I'm going to make myself a Nourish Bowl for lunch. When I make a Nourish Bowl, every time I make it, it changes basically with what I decide to put in it. But today I'm going to do some potatoes. I've also got some Brussels sprouts, some chickpeas, some greens, and I have a vision for how this Nourish Bowl is going to come together. Nourish Bowls are something that definitely do take time to come together because you have many different components. And so if you do enjoy making Nourish Bowls, my biggest piece of advice is to do a big prep at the beginning of the week of all the different components you want to put in it, and then throw those together for lunch if you're working from home. I have a feeling that what I prepare today, I will probably have some leftovers, and so leftovers like that are something that, again, I'll put in the fridge and enjoy later on during the week. As we get into this recipe, I also want to say a big shout out and thank you to Cosmic Cookware for sponsoring today's video. If you watch my videos regularly, you'll probably see all of the gorgeous cookware that I do use throughout it, and all of my cookware is from Cosmic Cookware, and I love it so much. It's genuinely like the best I've ever used and such a staple in my kitchen for me. I think a lot of people are very impressed by the way that Cosmic Cookware looks because it's so gorgeous and it comes in a variety of colors, but as well as that, it is so functional and so easy to use and also easy to clean. All of the cookware from Cosmic Cookware is toxic free and chemical free. They also have a non-stick coating, and one of the biggest questions that I've had about Cosmic Cookware in the past is if you can use them on electric cooktops, and the answer is yes. I've had electric cooktops for the past few years, honestly, maybe even longer than that, and I've only ever used it on an electric cooktop, and yeah, it's been absolutely wonderful. It's Cosmic Cookware's birthday this month, so they actually have a special discount running until the 22nd of September, and as always, there is also my discount code, which is AmandaCosmic10, and that gets you 10% off your order, and I will leave a link down in the description box if you want to check Cosmic Cookware out. To start this Nourish Bowl, I am beginning with some white potatoes, which I am cutting up into slices, and then into a bowl I put some olive oil as well as some dried parsley. Then I also added in some veggie stock powder as well as some garlic powder, and I mix this all together. You know that I love doing this before I then put my veggies or source of protein or anything in, because it allows everything to get really nice and evenly coated. Once everything was coated, I then transferred these into my air fryer. I don't think I've done many air fryer recipes on here yet, but I love it, especially when I'm just cooking for myself. So I left those to fry up whilst I also prepared the Brussels sprouts. I just cut all the Brussels sprouts in half, and then into a bowl I did something similar with the oil spices situation. So I started with some oil as well as some salt, and then I added in some lemon juice and then also some lemon zest, and I mixed this all together before adding in the Brussels sprouts and making sure that all of these Brussels sprouts were really nice and well coated before I transferred them into a frying pan. So I'm trying to char these up and get them nice and crispy. I love doing that with Brussels sprouts, and as you can see, they did get nice and crispy. I also then heated up some chickpeas with just some salt and some pepper in a saucepan just to go with the rest of the dish. When it came to plating, I started with some beetroot hummus, which I smeared on the plate. Then I added on some fresh greens, followed by the chickpeas that I had heated up. Then I also topped with the crispy Brussels sprouts, which was so delish, as well as some of the crispy potatoes. I also drizzled this with a vegan mayonnaise dressing, which was super simple. I just mixed some vegan mayo with some water, and then I also topped it with some dukkha, which I'm loving so much at the moment. This was honestly probably my favorite lunch of the entire week because it was so delish. When it came to Thursday though, I made something that was absolutely divine, and I actually have been making on repeat a lot lately. I start by finely dicing some tomatoes as well as some red onion. Then I also dice up some coriander, and I prepared a fresh lime by just cutting it in half. Then into my saucepan I add some black beans with a little bit of oil, some onion and garlic powder, as well as some smoked paprika and some salt and some pepper as well. And I fry this up so that they get nice and well coated and they heat up and get like a little bit crispy. I then add those fresh ingredients, the red onion, tomato, and the coriander, as well as some fresh lime juice, into a little bowl and mix this together to make a fresh salsa. And in a separate bowl, I add some avocado with lime, some salt, and some pepper. And I'm just smashing this avocado to make like a little smashed avocado situation, basically. Then when it comes to layering this is like a layered dip that I really enjoy making. I start with the black bean mixture down the bottom, then I top with some store-bought salsa, which I love so much at the moment. Then I also top it with some coconut yogurt, like a natural coconut yogurt, followed by the smashed avocado. On top of the avocado, I then put that fresh salsa that I had prepared, which is one of the best parts of this dish. And then I also serve this with some corn chips on the side. And this is a really simple one. I just dip the corn chips in and enjoy my layered dip for lunch. It is absolutely lovely. When it came to Friday, I was still feeling something a little fresh, and I decided to start by cutting up some red onion once again, followed by a little bit of green capsicum, which I was finely dicing as well. I also prepared and diced some cucumber. As you can tell, we're having a bit of a fresh moment, but there is an element of hardiness to this as well because I am preparing and boiling some pasta to go with this. I am also cutting up some cherry tomatoes, which I love cherry tomatoes so very much, and then I also prepared some parsley by finely chopping that up as well. Then into a little container, I put some white wine vinegar as well as some Dijon mustard and some olive oil as well as some salt and some pepper to make a dressing for this. And so I just put the lid on and I shake this all up. I swear this is the best way to combine a dressing. It just makes it so easy. Then I put my pasta into a bowl. Then I also added on, of course, the parsley, the cherry tomatoes, the fresh cucumber, what do we got? Capsicum, the red onion, some chickpeas, as well as some vegan feta. And then I drizzled that dressing on top and then tossed this together to make a really fresh and delicious pasta salad, which was just divine. And this easy and delicious pasta salad brings us to the end of a week of vegan lunches. I hope you enjoyed and got a fresh new idea, at least one, to try out at home. A reminder that Cosmic Cookware's birthday sale runs until the 22nd of September. I will leave a link to their website in the description box below. As always, thank you so much for being here and supporting my channel. I hope you have a beautiful day and I will see you next week with another video. Bye!